So this live is how to change your most difficult ways. How do you change your most difficult ways? The cliff notes of this, and then I hope you watch the rest of the video, but the cliff notes on how to change your most difficult ways is to recognize there's nothing to fix, but something to understand. There's nothing to fix, something to understand. So that's how you change your most difficult ways. But let's talk about that in detail. I have a page of notes I'm going to go over. This is a quick 10, 15 minute live, but in my broadcast groups, in my quote of the day and in my pep talk of the day, I ask questions. I want to know what you want to talk about, what you want help with. And this is one of the questions. How do you change your most difficult ways? How do you change those things about you that you feel is halting your forward progress? How do you shift the things within you that feel like part of you, that feel like part of your identity? Maybe you're walking in a shame spiral. Maybe you're walking in a blame spiral. Maybe you are walking in a victim mentality. Maybe you're not doing any of these things, but you just feel like you're not experiencing forward progress because you have imposter syndrome, or you keep procrastinating, or you keep perfecting your way out of forward progress. So how do you do that? How do you change your most difficult ways? That's what we're talking about today. Let me take a sip. Class is in session. I'm happy to be the student and the teacher. Good morning, everybody. So I'm going to turn this around in a second because I have about 5 key points that I want to go over. Mainly the shift. We can recognize the situation, but let's go into the shift. So while I have you here, class, is there anybody in here? If you're driving, do not respond. If you're safe to respond, do so. You could just put a Y in the comments. Do I have anybody that's been experiencing imposter syndrome or feeling like they're experiencing imposter syndrome? Put a Y in the comment. Do I have anybody that's experiencing procrastination or self-sabotage? Put that Y in the comment. Do I have anybody that's been experiencing perfectionism or people pleasing? All the P's, people pleasing, perfectionism, imposter syndrome. Do I have anybody that's saying, I don't know if I'm good enough for this goal. I don't know if I'm ready for this goal. I don't know if I can accomplish this goal. Anybody experiencing inadequacy not in terms of their life, but in terms of their thought life about their life? Okay, I think I'm in the right class. I walked to the door and I saw the sign and it said how to change your difficult ways, and I walked in and started teaching, but I wanted to make sure still I was in the right classroom, in the right environment. I'm glad y'all are here because we're going to go through this and we're going to go through it quickly. Here's the thing. Again, I said this a moment ago. There's nothing to fix. This isn't fixed. This isn't like you got a flat tire and you need to fix the tire. You need to find the hole and you need to plug up the hole and you need to fix it, or you need a new tire. You don't need to fix a thing. You need to understand. You've got to understand why self-sabotage is your default. You got to understand why when opportunities present themselves and you hold your hand up and say yes, why you feel like an imposter. You've got to understand when somebody asks, okay, how much do you charge for this? Why you freeze up, shake up, and start discounting before they've even told you yes or no. Before they even told you your budget, you're discounting yourself. They may have $10,000 to spend. Maybe your thing is $10,000, but before they even tell you what their budget is, you're like, okay, maybe 2,000, maybe this. It's time, y'all. Got to change that. All right. So I'm going to turn this around. I want to walk through this. It's my anxiety. It's my anxiety. Okay. We're going to talk about that. How do you change your most difficult ways? So somebody said my anxiety is my most difficult way. Somebody else may say something else. I think a lot of times let's just get into the lesson. Class is in session. Be safe if you're driving. Just listen. If you're not driving, tune up, listen. Because how do you change your most difficult ways? We're going to talk about it. So today's date is the 24th of July. I think it is. And this is titled How to Change Your Most Difficult Ways. Difficult ways. First off, here's the first lesson. Difficult ways are rehearsed patterns of protection. Difficult ways are a rehearsed pattern of protection. What am I talking about? Difficult ways when something presents itself: shutting down, over controlling, ruminating thoughts, procrastination, perfection, people pleasing. Now, they may show up as I'm going to lose myself in social media, or I'll drown myself in Netflix for 3 days. That's how they may show up in the actions. But what's behind the action? This internal, inside. It's always something inside behind the outside action. Somebody put in the comments, I owe. It's always something inside that's driving the outside action or lack thereof. So if you sit around and eat cake all day, there's something inside of you there's a non-addressed situation inside of you that's creating that outside thing. If you sit and watch Netflix all day, that's an outside action being prompted by an inside dilemma. Outside action being prompted by an inside misalignment. That's really what it is. And the outside action, see, y'all be like, okay, well, let's turn Netflix off. Okay, Netflix will just get replaced by something else. Or you say, I got this problem. I watch too much TV, so I got rid of my TVs. Okay, cool. So now what are you doing? Well, now I listen to the radio. Okay, but then I started listening to the radio too much. So now what are you doing? Okay, but I got rid of all the radios. So now what are you doing with that time? Oh, now I smoke, or now I do this. Y'all keep trying to fix the outside action instead of the inside misalignment. Go deeper. Get off the surface and go inside. Inside. It's always an inside job. It's always an inside job. So when we say how to change your most difficult ways, I'm talking about those inner ways. There's some outer actions, but they're supported by the inner ways. So that's lesson number 1. The outside has an inside boss. The outside action has an inside boss. Plain and simple. And if you this is like fussing at the employees instead of the company that sets the tone. This is like going in the store and mad because the sale hasn't started yet, and you're fussing at the $14 per hour employee instead of going to the people that exact the changes. Outside action drawn by an inside misalignment. That's lesson number 1, by the way. So how to change your most difficult ways? Someone asked the question, I got an answer. First off, your difficult ways are rehearsed patterns of protection. So here's the thing. It's not anything you have to fix, but something you need to understand. Let me turn around. I need to see my eyes when I say this. You need to understand that your mind seeks safety. You need to understand that you want to expand yourself because our purpose is expansion. We want to expand ourselves, but at the same time, our mind seeks safety. Our mind is built to keep us safe. All the way back from the ages of the dinosaurs or whatever you believe, roaming around, our mind was built to keep us safe. And sometimes the mind makes safe and expansion opposing forces instead of connecting together. And so you need to understand that so that you can process through it. It's nothing to fix. You don't need to fix your brain. You need to give your brain some self-compassion. You give yourself some self-compassion and recognize, it's doing its job trying to keep me safe. But I'm safe in the expansion. This is one of my favorite affirmations. I am safe in the expansion. Expansion is my birthright. Expansion is my calling. Expansion is my purpose for life. I'm safe in the expansion, and so are you. Let me turn this back around. If you're picking up what I'm putting down, please make sure you put some hearts or likes or something. Let Instagram spread this amongst the people who need to hear it. So again, how do you change your most difficult ways? First off, difficult, rehearsed patterns of perfection, because you don't need to fix something. You need to understand. What do you need to understand? You need to understand that your mind has one goal, keep you safe. But you also have another goal. Your soul has another goal, expansion. So safety, safe, and expansion need to be reconciled. They need to be reconciled for forward progress. And that's what we're talking about. So I need you to know that there's learned anti-forward progress reactions or responses. It's initial reaction. And then when you keep feeding it, it becomes a habitual response. It becomes a rehearsed pattern. So we all have an initial knee-jerk reaction, but if that becomes what you feed and you keep feeding it, the reaction converts to a response, which then converts to a pattern. So learned anti-forward progress reaction response pattern. Shutting down, over-controlling, trying to over-control everything. Ruminating thoughts that are negative spiral. What if this happens? What if this negative thing happens? What if I fail? All this stuff. Procrastination, perfectionism, people pleasing. Let me go back to this ruminating thoughts, because ruminating thoughts is real tricky. It'll try to give you questions. It'll be like, but yeah, I've got 14 things to do and I have so many ideas. I'm not sure which idea to start first. So then you procrastinate, and then you don't do anything. Then you shut down. Then you start trying to over control. And then what happens is you don't do a doggone thing. That's why I call these learn anti-forward progress reaction responses, because I don't care where you are, what you're doing, what you want to accomplish. This right here is the continuous visualization of success, path of success. You always start somewhere. It takes forward progress to get to your desired end result, which is your goal, your hope, your wish, your dream, your desire. And somewhere along that path, something happens. Brick wall, something. What do you do in that moment of something? What you do in that moment of something is oftentimes a rehearsed pattern. A rehearsed pattern, because in this space right here, you may feel unsafe. And when you feel unsafe, what do you resort to? What you've been feeding, because repetition breeds belief. You resort to your beliefs because what you've been feeding. Somebody get it. So again, learn anti-forward progress reaction responses. These things, I can name a whole bunch more. And guess what? Here's what you've got to start telling yourself. I can hold compassion for the pattern while still choosing to change it. Because, how do I annihilate this shit? How do I stop? How do I annihilate? How do I do this? How do I do this? Hold some compassion for a repeated pattern that you've experienced for 6, 7, 10, 14, 27, 40 years. Some of y'all been saying and doing the same thing. So I gotta change my whole life. Nope. I can hold compassion for the pattern while still choosing to change it. You see, I can be kind to myself while I'm upgrading my life. Somebody, I can be kind to myself while I'm upgrading my life. Somebody put in the comments, upgrade my life. You can be kind while you're upgrading your life. And you should be. I can hold compassion for the patterns. I don't have to be mad because I've been a people pleaser. I don't have to be mad at myself because I'm experiencing perfectionism or procrastination or stage 7 imposter syndrome or over controlling or shutting down or freezing. I don't have to be mad at myself. Matter of fact, the catalyst for change is that I can hold compassion for the pattern while still choosing to change it. That is how you upgrade your life from the most powerful energy in the universe. Love. Somebody put a heart in the comments so we know we talking about love here. Well, that's what we're really talking about. That's all we're talking about. I can hold compassion for what this is without saying, oh, it's terrible because I this, I that. No, I ain't gonna say, let me tell y'all something. If you got to use the word terrible, you better say terribly amazing. Don't even think about calling yourself terrible. You are evolving, changing, creating things in your life. So don't sit up there and call yourself, I'm a terrible perfectionist. I'm a terrible this. No, this is a pattern. This is a pattern, and I can hold compassion for the pattern while still choosing to change it. I'm going to take the route of loving myself through. I'm going to take the route of loving myself through, because you know what happens? If I love myself through the change, the butterfly begins to love when it was a moth and tell people about the moth experience or whatever it was, caterpillar. It can tell people about the pre-transformation and not be shameful about it, not be mad about it, not be upset about it, not be triggered by it. Let me tell y'all something, and I'm going to tell y'all, if anybody's been around here listening to me, you know this. Many, many years ago in my 20s, I had negative self-esteem. I had negative self-compassion. I hated myself. Let me tell you something. I hated myself so much that I was the best February 15th, Friday Thanksgiving, 26th of December, Christmas. Y'all know what that means? I was the other woman. I was in my 20s being that, because I thought that was the only love I could get, was somebody's stinking leftovers. I thought that was all I could get. And I was like, well, I'd rather have half of somebody giving me a little bit of attention. I'd rather get the 85% off chocolates on February 15th than no chocolates at all. That's the level that I saw myself. That's the lack of love that I had for myself. I had such little compassion that I was grateful. Them people didn't even take off the 50% off sticker when they handed me them old chocolates. And I sat up there smiling, grinning, getting February 15th chocolate. Sometimes it was February 16th. I had to change my difficult way of seeing myself as less than. I did it. And I know you can too. Yep, that was me. So if anybody in here, if I broke up your home about 30 years ago, I apologize. I'm sorry. I'm not the same me that I was then. I genuinely apologize. Any men and any women, let's keep it real. I really apologize for breaking up your home 30 years ago. That ain't me no more. I'm 52 years old. I stand in my skeletal bones of yesterday, not from a space of shame, but from a space of love. I'm glad you stumbled upon it too. So we're talking about how to change your most difficult ways. And a lot of times those difficult ways, we will attach an outside action, but it's really being driven by an inside boss. And so shutting down, over controlling, ruminating negative thoughts, procrastination, perfectionism, people pleasing, imposter syndrome, questioning your worth, questioning your value, questioning all these things. So let's get into the shift. What's the shift? The shift is you don't shift by shaming your anti-forward progress reaction or response. You don't shift by shaming yourself. You shift by renewing your choices, by rewiring your choices. You need to change the boss inside. You need to change the boss inside of you. How do you do it? I'm going to tell you. This is how. NCA. I need about 6 people who are not driving. Let me turn this around. Because if you're driving, keep your face forward on that street, because we need you here. The rest of y'all that aren't driving and have the ability, and if you're in a meeting, don't even look at the screen. I need you to keep your job. So if you're not in a meeting and you're not driving, I need y'all to put in there you go. I ain't even master. NCA. How do I change? So the answer to how do I change my most difficult ways is number 1, recognize there's nothing to fix, but instead something to understand. And then number 2, NCA. And I'm going to come back to somebody that says how you deal with these negative thoughts and fear that's so loud. For example, at my slightest feeling in my body, there's a terrible illness to death. Because repetition breeds belief. I just told you how, because you have, like you said, I've constantly it's so loud. You know why it's so loud? Because it's the only voice in the room. It's so loud because it's the only voice in the room. You haven't said that's not true. I've repeatedly, consistently felt like something was wrong, and then I got confirmed that ain't nothing wrong, because you got to give yourself evidence, not ultimatums. You got to give yourself evidence, not ultimatums. So you said, at the slightest feeling in my body, I fear there's a terrible illness. You have gotten checked out. They done repeatedly told you that pain in your side is cramps, or that swollen finger is because you need to wash your hands more. You have given yourself consistent, consecutive evidence, and you keep giving yourself an ultimatum. Oh, it must mean this. It must mean this. This is what this whole thing is about, pattern interruption, because your most difficult way is just the one you've repeated the most. Your most difficult way is just the one that you've repeated the most, because repetition breeds belief. Repetition breeds belief. So you may never be diagnosed as something, but you're going to feel like you're sick all the time. You're going to feel like you're sick all the time because repetition breeds belief. So I'm telling you how to change it. I'm laying it out. I wrote it down. I'm giving you the actionable steps. I'm giving it to you. The outer action that something must be wrong with me is driven by an inside boss, an inside mindset. How do you shift it? Here's how. You don't shift by shaming yourself. You shift by rewiring your choices. There's somebody in the scripture, I heard somebody say, renewing your mind. You've got to name the pattern. When I feel blank, I usually respond by blank. This is the work. This is the NCA. You've got to name, choose, and act. Name, choose, and act. We're finna say it 5 times together. Name, choose, act. 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 5 times we said it. Get it in your brain. What we're doing is rewiring your choices, because you know what? Remember I said an outside action is stemmed by an inside misalignment. What's the misalignment? It's in your thoughts, your words, your feelings, your actions, your choices, and decisions. You know what this little thing is? This is your inner system. So you're saying I want to be healthy, but you're saying, oh, that pain must mean this. And then you use the words that, well, that must mean this. Then you start to feel the pain even more because you've agitated internally. Now you take action. You start Googling all a bunch of stuff. Oh, it must be this, must be this, must be this. So then you make choices. I can't go nowhere because I can't go try for this job because I might be sick, or I can't go do this. And then guess what you're doing to the quality of your life? You're diminishing it more than any diagnosis could. You done took your healthy body and gave it a dis-ease. You took your healthy body and gave it a dis-ease. Not because of diagnosis, but because system misalignment. So here's the shift. You name the pattern. That's number 1. Name the pattern. When I feel blank, I usually respond by blank. Number 2, choose a disruptive cue. So here's what happens. This is the old way. So for example, I feel a pain. Okay, wait. I'm going to breathe. This is what I do. I breathe. I stretch my arms out, wiggle my toes a little bit, and then I touch my chest. Y'all see this frequently. Sometimes when I'm in a live, you'll see me do this. This is me reminding myself. I've had this test that I give myself. This is the test that I say, am I worthy? Am I good enough? Am I ready? I have a 2-part foolproof test that answers those questions. First off, I touch my chest. Take a deep breath. I put my hand as close as I can to my chest until I feel some beating. Test number 1 passed. Then I take 3 breaths. Yep. Okay. I can do that. And then this is the one. I hold my breath. I hold my breath as long as I can. Hold your breath as long as you can and watch that first. The most delicious thing you'll ever experience is the moment after you stop holding your breath and you take in that air. Air you've been taking in since the first day you was born. But hold your breath. Hold your breath till you can't anymore. And that first breathing in of free oxygen is the most precious, beautiful, amazing thing. So if I can breathe and my chest still beating, then I'm ready. If I can breathe and my chest is still beating, I'm enough. If I can breathe and my chest is still beating and my mind still wants that dream, that hope, that wish, that desire, that goal, then I'm ready. Period. I'm enough. Period. I'm safe in the expansion. Period. There's an action I can take right now. Period. That is it. NCA, name change, name choose act. So name the pattern we talked about. Choose a disruptive cue. So I breathe, I stretch, move my body a little bit, touch my chest. This is a moment where you can interject a saying. You can say, wait. I'm thinking the old way, the old pattern. I'm building a new way. I'm building a new way, and I can hold compassion for the pattern while I'm still choosing to change it. See, this is where we're interjecting the system. The thought came up. The words came up. The old pattern came up. You gave it new words, which then prompted a new feeling, which then guess what? Are y'all smart enough, class? You know what happens next. When you change your thoughts, your words, your feelings, what's the next thing? The next thing is action. Then take one tiny opposite action. So for example, if you constantly shutting down and don't say anything, speak one sentence, just one sentence. That can be your one sentence. I'm building something new. And then take one tiny action. Now you've adjusted the pattern. If you get in the habit of NCAing your way through the old pattern, guess what happens? Guess what happens, class? You change the pattern. You change the pattern. Somebody put in the comments, change the pattern, because when you do this, when you NCA it, and you don't, let me turn around. I want you to see my face. When you NCA it, when you name it, when you choose a disruptive cue, when you choose something to disrupt the pattern, and then when you take an action in support of it, you have just shifted. Now, it may feel uncomfortable. You just did it once. You got 20 years of 30 years or 14 years of the old pattern. You did something. Now, this is the test after you do that, after you name it, after you disrupt the pattern, and after you take an action. Go take a deep breath. Like, wait, did something escape my oxygen? Nope, I'm still breathing. My heart's still beating. I didn't blow up in flames. I'm okay. And guess what you've done in that moment? Especially if you feel some emotion. Guess what you've done? You've given yourself evidence. You've given yourself evidence. So then the next time something comes up and the old pattern wants to present itself, you can say, I got evidence that when I name it, choose a disruptive cue and take action, I still grow. I still expand. And most importantly, I'm still safe. I'm still safe. Your most difficult way is just the one you've repeated the most, because repetition breeds belief. None of this works. None of this works until you do this one thing. Decide to work. Decide to work. Have you decided the quality of your life is no longer, the quality of your desired life is no longer supported by the old way of being? The old way can't open new doors. I think I might have read it somewhere that the old wineskins can't hold new wine. I think I read it somewhere. NCA, you just came in here. NCA stands for name the pattern, choose in name. See, choose a action. If you missed it, watch the replay. All right, I'm going to take a second. I'm going to take a second and see if there's any comments that I want to address. I don't see none. I don't see none yet. I think that's it. I think the class about to be dismissed. I hear the bell starting to ring. I hear it. Will you post this video? Yes. All of my lives, I post. All my lives I make available for everybody. If you stumble upon here, you get to watch it. You want to watch the replay plus any forums or any further discussion, you got to subscribe. I make them available for everybody to watch. If you want to watch it again, you got to become a subscriber. You get to watch it 10 times if you want to. All right, I'm going to answer a few questions. This is just the Q&A after the class. You're welcome. You're welcome. What if what if it has crying? What are you talking about? What's wrong with crying? Ain't nothing wrong with crying. Sometimes I cry and alive. I'm emotional about this stuff. What does that mean? What if it has crying? What if it has snot? What if your nose snot? What if your arm flails upward and downward? What if it makes you have to drink water? You got a lump in your throat. What you talking about? Like if you cry unstoppable every time you push yourself through. So what's wrong with crying? What have you? Here's the thing that I want to ask you. What is it? Can you hold compassion for the pattern of crying while changing it? And first off, you don't have to change the crying. What are you making the crying mean? What are you making the crying mean? That's the bigger question. What negative connotation have you given to the crying? And you say crying is unstoppable. You ain't crying right now. So y'all, can I tell y'all something with kindness? Stop telling yourself that these things, like this always happens. This. You ain't crying right now. So at some point the crying stops. At some point the crying stopped. When you pushed through, the crying probably stopped. So what? What is the negative thing you've attached with your crying? If your body produces tears when emotions are heightened, stand on your business. Do it with the tears streaming down your face. Tell the people, I'm so emotional and passionate about this that it evokes tears. And then while the tears are streaming, keep moving your hands, keep moving your feet, keep moving your body. It's not about the tears. It's the story you told yourself about the tears. I'm telling you a new story. Tell yourself a new story. You would also do great on Substack. Okay, well, I might head over there. I cry walking down the street. Yeah, me too. I watched a doggone video the other day, and matter of fact, this morning, and shed tears. And you know what I did when I shed those tears? I put my hand on my heart and I said, I love how passionate I am. That's what I made my tears mean, passion. Passion. If crying keeps coming up, and my mind blanks out. Well, here's the interesting thing. Your mind blanks out, but yet you can tell me about it right here, right now. So your mind blanked out. If your mind blanked out, but you could tell me about it. If your mind blanked out and you can tell me about it right here, right now, then you can use the conscious awareness where your mind ain't blanked out to put this stuff into place. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. If you can give me a play-by-play of the game, you can build a strategy for the next game. If you can build a play-by-play of the game, if you can tell me a play-by-play, this, and this happens, then you can say, okay, when the next game I can implement this, and this, which is what I'm giving you. Your mind didn't blank out. Your mind, if it blanked out, it blanked out for a minute. It returned. If I turn this light off, oh, it's dark in here. Now the light has returned. It's hard for me to push through the uncomfortableness too. Yeah, because repetition. You know why it's hard? Because repetition breeds belief. Because repetition breeds belief. It was hard for me to if somebody single wanted to date me. Because I was like, back 20, 30 years ago. Because I was like, how could they just want me? It was hard for me too. Because I didn't see myself as somebody worthy to have love. I didn't see myself as that. So yeah, it was hard for me too. Do it hard. It was hard for me to learn the clarinet. It was hard for me to learn to drive. It was hard for you to learn how to walk. You have a track record of doing things hard until they became the normal. We all, turn it around. You have a track record as a human being of meeting something hard, learning how to do it hard all the way to progress. That is called life. Did you walk out the womb? Did you feed yourself? See, right now, you can go right now and go in that kitchen and cook up a meal, or you can go to a restaurant, order some food and sit there and eat some food. But however old, I'm 52 years old, 51 and a half years ago, I couldn't do that. 51 and a half years ago, I couldn't do that. Somebody had to feed me. It's the same thing, friend. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. I struggle with my husband unconditional love. I struggle with I struggle with my husband unconditional love. I'm sitting with it. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Unconditional love for your husband. I mean, it's big. Again, you're talking about an outer action. What's the inner? Did he do something? What you trying to, is it that you struggle with unconditional love, or you're struggling with forgiveness? Yeah. All right, folks, that's it. This is a quick live. It's supposed to be a quick live anyway. Please, if you're in here, make sure you follow me. This is the things that I do. And next month, you'll probably see a live every single day where I take an ultra specific topic like this and I walk you through the actionable steps. You got the actionable steps. I planted the seed. Here's the thing. My assignment is to plant seeds. I'm going to plant the seeds. God's going to make them grow. God, omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, going to make them grow. Now, you got to till the garden. I ain't going to read that in Joyous. I ain't going to read that statement. He loves me unconditional. Great. So then you probably have a problem accepting unconditional love. I don't know. But how to change your most difficult. Let me do a quick recap before I call it a day and get myself to work. How do you change your most difficult ways? Again, you got to stop being at war with yourself and finally evolve with intention, because all of this is intentional. You see, these things come up on autopilot. I like to say we have inherited beliefs and then we have chosen beliefs. These may be inherited. Maybe you saw your mom, dad, whoever, people pleasing. Maybe they criticize you so much that you built up a armor of protection around it called perfection. But guess what? I get it. These are learned. Somebody taught you anti-forward progress, reaction responses. If this is halting you from getting to your desired end result, the privilege of adulthood is you can stand in that, acknowledge it. You can give yourself love that maybe your overcritical parent couldn't give you. You're the parent now. You're reparenting yourself. You can give yourself love and say, I can hold compassion for the pattern while I'm still choosing to change it. And then the shift is, again, because there's nothing to fix, it's more about understanding. Understanding requires love, because safety and expansion, they go hand in hand. Love is the bridge. Love yourself through the shift. You've got to name the pattern. Well, when I feel blank, I usually respond by this. Now you've named it, you've observed it and named it without shame, without blame, without complaint. And then you choose a disruptive cue, which simply means, let's say, for instance, I'm used to shutting down. I'm going to speak one sentence. Or I'm used to over-controlling. I'm going to acknowledge that I previously over-controlled because I felt control equaled safety. But I know in expansion, I've got to let other people take the wheel. I'm safe in the expansion. I'm safe in allowing somebody else to do it, to help me. Got to say it out loud, and then you've got to take an action. And counter, cue that disruption by breathing, stretching, touching your chest, saying something. Oh, that's the old way. I used to call it, yesterday. That was yesterday thinking. I'm in today. That was yesterday's ways of understanding. I have a new understanding. And then take an action, a tiny opposite action. In other words, the old way would have me not do anything or do this. The new way would have me do this. And here's the action that I'm taking. When you do that, you're giving yourself evidence, not ultimatums. Not only that, but you're creating a pattern. You're creating a new pattern. And neuroscience tells us you're building a new neural pathway. And the mind will take hold and start to say, oh, it's safe for me to take that action, because repetition breeds belief. Because repetition breeds belief. All right, let me see what y'all talking about right quick. Let's see. Anything else? I'm having a problem accepting it. Okay, I understand. Again, I was a habitual other woman because I couldn't accept kindness, but I couldn't accept kindness because I thought that I wasn't worthy of it. So it's probably not it's not accepting unconditional love. It's accepting your worthiness. And so if you don't feel worthy of it, you're going to probably sabotage or feel uncomfortable in the receiving posture. And then I wonder what the hard time accepting it looks like, because somehow, some way you accepted it enough to say, I do. You accepted enough to give your life to the person. So I'm curious as what the hard time looks like for you. All right. Anything else? Let's see. Yep, stop being at war with yourself. Understand. Seek understanding. Seek understanding. All right, y'all. That's it. How to change your most difficult ways. Listen, if you're not already, get in one of my broadcast channels. I have one where I issue a daily quote for the day. I have one where I issue a daily pep talk, a voice note, a full 1-minute pep talk every single day. And then I also have one just for subscribers, and I have one for coaches. So get in one of those, and subscribers, you get to watch the replay. So you'll get to watch this 20 times if you want to. You'll get that. But if you're not a subscriber, there's many ways to access me. And please, every single person in here, get the 50 Foundational Agreements ebook. It's $5.55. A lot of what I'm talking about is in there. And here's an example of a foundational agreement. I get to decide how to experience the experiences that come my way. The 50 Foundational Agreements ebook has an agreement, why it matters, when to choose it, replacement for limiting beliefs, journal prompt, and a daily action. It's 50 of those. And matter of fact, make sure everybody that gets it, while it's still $5.55, get it, because I'm upgrading it. I'm actually adding 10 more agreements and audio for every single one of those agreements. Yes, the price is going to go up tremendously, but everybody that got it at $5.55, you get the upgrade for free. When I finish the upgrade, it's going to be a $100 product. So again, spend $5 now and you get the upgrade for free. You got it? Good, good, good. All right, that's it. I want you to enjoy the rest of your day. But again, get in one of my broadcast channels, because when I ask questions, this is what is spurring these lives. The conversation is what you've asked for, what you needed to hear. So I'm creating those. I'm positioning myself to talk about what you need to hear, what you said you want to hear. Where is it? The 50 Foundational Agreements, just go to my bio. You'll see the Stand Store, click that, and you can go right in to get it. Everybody. I hope everybody every adult, I wish every adult would have the 50 Foundational Agreements. Every single adult. Matter of fact, let me say this right quick before I go. If you have a church group or a friendship group or anybody group, send them a message and say, everybody go get these 50 Foundational Agreements. Let's all level up together. Enjoy your day.